Anyone who watches the news, reads the newspaper, goes on social media, knows that there are a lot of bad things happening in our world. Folks here at home and across the globe are confronting devastations from hurricanes, earthquakes, floods, wars, and certainly forest fires, as in my home state. And tensions between the United States and North Korea have never been higher, reaching a dangerous, dangerous level. And the world is watching all of this with bated breath. But in the midst of this deluge of news, a human rights catastrophe is unfolding virtually unnoticed. I'm talking about the members of the Burmese military engaging in horrific acts of unthinkable violence against the Rohingya, a Muslim minority population in a predominantly Buddhist nation. The Burmese military, along with civilian accomplices, have slaughtered more than 3,000 innocent civilians. They have raped thousands of Rohingya women. They have beheaded children as young as 6 years old. They have burned countless villages to the ground. Through these brutal acts, the Burmese military has driven 500,000 Rohingya refugees to camps in nearby Bangladesh, with Burmese soldiers continuing to shoot at them as they try to cross the border. A border, by the way, along which landmines have been laid by the Burmese military. The brutality of what's happening in that country is truly beyond comprehension. The Burmese government calls it a security operation. But we need to call it exactly what it is: ethnic cleansing. So often I've heard the words, "never again," that the U.S. will stand up to ethnic cleansing. And this is one of those moments when we must stand up. What is happening in Burma is a crime against humanity. And as a country, we have a moral responsibility to take a stand and to speak out against it, to make the world take notice of the atrocities, to call for their end, and to work towards their end. The Rohingya are a people trapped in a cycle of violence and persecution by the Burmese government and military. The government of Burma has turned them into stateless people, refusing to recognize them, refusing to give them citizenship, in spite of the fact that much of the Rohingya community has been there for centuries, and they need our help. The Burma government has adopted laws that ban the Rohingya from traveling without official permission, from owning land, from securing a public education, from obtaining employment by either a state or private business. So when the Burmese government says that they will welcome back the refugees who can prove their citizenship, they're being completely disingenuous, completely treacherous, because they know, and the whole world should know, that the very laws of Burma make it impossible for the Rohingya to prove their citizenship, since they have been denied citizenship by the government of Burma. We cannot sit idly by and let ethnic cleansing continue. One nation that has stepped up is Bangladesh. As the leaders of Burma have persecuted the Rohingya and burned the villages and shot the refugees as they were fleeing, the government of Bangladesh has opened their door. They have proceeded to allow humanitarian groups access and the United Nations access. And this is commendable, but more needs to be done. These refugee camps are overcrowded. There aren't enough supplies, clean toilets, food, clean water. Doctors Without Borders says that They are on the brink of a, quote, public health disaster. And unlike Bangladesh, other countries have yet to step up. Indeed, I'm concerned by reports that some factions within India have been explicitly, publicly seeking to expel India's own Rohingya population. And it's important for the international community to weigh in with India, to ask them to respect international law and to protect the Rohingya refugees. India knows full well that there's no place to send them. If they send them back to Burma, it will just be more persecution of the men and the women and the children. But it underscores the fact that the Rohingya need help and that the world should answer the call. And as we do, we must use what influence we have to put an end to the violence and the persecution of this ethnic minority. We need to call on Burma's leaders to protect these minorities, not to assist the persecution. We need to immediately allow humanitarian groups, call on the government of Burma to immediately allow humanitarian groups access to the Rohingya that are trapped in Burma in what some have described as concentration camps. And we need to call on Burma's leaders to provide the hundreds of thousands of Rohingya refugees forced to flee their homes and villages a safe and assisted right of return. In addition, the Burmese government, the Burmese nation, needs to figure out how to end the root causes of this conflict, age-old ethnic and religious conflicts, and find a way to embrace the diversity within their nation. This is certainly not the first time that the tensions have erupted into violence. It's happened time and time and time again. But this is the worst we've ever seen. Kofi Annan, the former UN Secretary General, is current chairman of the Advisory Commission on the Rakhine State. And he and his team have called on Burma to take the appropriate actions to end this cycle of violence, this cycle of radicalization. The entire community, Rohingya community, is counting on us, the world, to notice and to act. We must immediately see an end to the violence, full access for humanitarian organizations, cooperation with and access for the United Nations fact-finding mission, the safe return of refugees, implementation of the full set of recommendations from Kofi Annan's report. It is also critical that the United States and the international community continue to shed light on this horrific problem, provide sustained aid and support to the refugees in Burma and in Bangladesh, to take action to show other repressive governments that there will be consequences for pursuing this type of persecution, starting with a strong UN Security Council resolution. International action to end this violence, increase humanitarian assistance, and extend our aid to the Rohingya people is the right thing to do. And I pray that together we will answer that call. I'd also like to thank my colleagues who've already engaged in this issue. And there are a number, but particularly I'm aware of Senator Durbin and Senator John McCain's and Senator Ben Cardin's involvement and leadership. Let's build on that foundation to have this U.S. Senate demonstrate attention to this issue through letters. We should also try to arrange a Senate trip to visit both Burma and Bangladesh to draw additional international attention and build momentum for action. Thank you, Mr. President.